The seating chart for Marcus's wedding had my name in the corner table by the kitchen doors. Table 18. The overflow table where they'd seated distant cousins nobody remembered and my Aunt Carol who wore too much perfume. "It's just logistics, Jamie," my mother said when I questioned it 3 weeks before the wedding. She didn't look up from her phone, scrolling through the caterer's menu options. "The head tables are for immediate family and the wedding party. You understand?" I was immediate family. Marcus was my brother. But I understood what she really meant. My older brother Marcus was marrying Vanessa Chin, whose family owned half the commercial real estate in our county. The wedding had been planned like a military operation for 18 months. Every detail calculated for maximum impression. Every guest list revision designed to showcase success, wealth and social prominence. I didn't fit the aesthetic they were cultivating. "Marcus wants the head table to look cohesive," my sister-in-law to be explained during a venue walkthrough. Vanessa had a way of smiling while delivering criticisms that made them sound like compliments. "You know, couples and families. You'd feel awkward sitting alone up there anyway." I was 31 and single. I'd been single for 3 years by choice, while I completed my judicial clerkship and prepared for what came next. But my family saw it differently. "Still no boyfriend?" my father asked at every family dinner, his tone suggesting moral failure rather than relationship status. "Marcus had already proposed to Vanessa by your age." My younger brother Marcus, the golden child, had done everything right according to our parents' scorecard. Business degree from a state school. Sales position at his father-in-law's company. Engagement to a woman whose family had money and connections. He looked successful in the specific way our family valued. Visible wealth, corporate job, conventional relationship. I'd taken a different path. Law school on scholarships. Clerkship with Judge Patricia Morrison at the appellate court. Careful career building in the judiciary. The kind of success that didn't photograph well for social media or impress relatives at holiday dinners. Law clerk. My uncle had said at Thanksgiving, making it sound like paralegal or court stenographer. "So you're like an assistant?" "Something like that," I'd replied, not bothering to explain. The week before Marcus's wedding, my father called with specific instructions. "During the toasts and speeches, we need you to stay in the background. Vanessa's father is filming everything professionally, and they want the wedding party and immediate family featured prominently." "I am immediate family, Dad." "You know what I mean, Jamie. They're creating a specific visual presentation. Single people in the background, couples and families up front. It's not personal." It was entirely personal. But I'd learned not to argue. The morning of the wedding, I received a text in the family group chat from Marcus. "Remember, speeches and toasts are at the head tables. Everyone else stays seated at their assigned tables. No exceptions. Professional videographer needs clear shots." My mother added, "Jamie, that means you stay at table 18 during all formal moments." My sister Melanie, who'd been chosen as maid of honor despite being younger than me, sent a separate message. "Don't make this about you. This is Marcus's day." I hadn't said a word. Hadn't complained. Hadn't asked for anything. But somehow my very presence had become a problem to manage. Build up. I arrived at the venue wearing a navy dress I'd bought specifically for the occasion. Conservative, elegant, forgettable. The kind of outfit designed not to draw attention. I'd perfected the art of being invisible at family events. The ceremony was beautiful. Expensive. Marcus looked nervous and happy. Vanessa looked perfect as always. I sat in the 5th row, not with family, wedged between Aunt Carol and a teenager playing games on his phone. The reception began with the usual choreography. Grand entrance of the wedding party. First dance. Parent dances. I watched from table 18. Partially hidden behind a floral arrangement that blocked my view of the head table. "You're Marcus's sister?" the woman next to me asked. She was someone's +1 invited by a college friend of Vanessa's. "Yes." "Why aren't you at the family table?" I smiled the smile I'd practiced. Complicated seating logistics. She looked at the head table where my parents sat prominently beside Vanessa's family, where Melanie laughed loudly at something the best man said, where Marcus looked like the center of the universe. "That seems odd." It was odd. But it was also my family. The toasts began after dinner. Best man first, telling stories about Marcus's college days that had been sanitized for the audience. Maid of honor next. Melanie performing emotion she probably half felt, talking about growing up with Marcus and learning from his example. I stayed at table 18 as instructed. My father stood next, his speech prepared and practiced. He talked about Marcus's accomplishments, his bright future, his excellent choice in a wife. He talked about family values and success and the importance of making the right decisions in life. He didn't mention me once. Neither did my mother in her shorter remarks. Vanessa's father took the microphone next, and his speech was about legacy, about building something that lasts, about the importance of choosing partners who elevate you socially and professionally. I felt my phone vibrate in my clutch. A text from Chief Justice Richard Holland. Congratulations again, Judge Barrett. The ceremony next week will make it official, but you've earned this appointment. The court is lucky to have you. I'd signed my judicial appointment papers 8 days ago. At 31, I was about to become one of the youngest family court judges in the state. Judge Patricia Morrison had recommended me personally. The governor had approved the appointment. My swearing-in ceremony was scheduled for the following Friday. I hadn't told my family. Not after the engagement party where my father had asked, "Still just clerking?" Not after the bridal shower where Vanessa's mother had said, "It's so nice that some people find satisfaction in support roles." Not after my mother had suggested I might meet someone professional, if I attended Marcus's wedding looking approachable. What was the point? They'd already decided who I was. The speeches continued. Childhood stories. Toast to the future. Laughter from the head tables while table 18 made polite conversation about nothing. Then Vanessa's father returned to the microphone with a special announcement. Before we open the dance floor, I want to recognize some distinguished guests joining us tonight. We're honored to have several local business leaders and community figures celebrating with us. He started reading names. CEO of this company. President of that organization. Chairman of some board. Each person stood to polite applause while the videographer captured the moment. And we're particularly honored, Vanessa's father continued, to have Chief Justice Richard Holland joining us this evening. My stomach dropped. I hadn't known Chief Justice Holland was invited. But of course he was. Vanessa's family had connections throughout the county. They collected powerful people like others collected wine. Chief Justice Holland stood at a table near the front, waving graciously. He was 73, distinguished, with silver hair and the commanding presence of someone who'd spent 40 years on the bench. Chief Justice Holland has served our state with distinction for decades, Vanessa's father continued. We're grateful for his presence tonight. The applause was enthusiastic. My family clapped extra hard, probably hoping to be noticed. Chief Justice Holland took the microphone when offered. "Thank you for including me," he said, his voice carrying the same authority it had in the courtroom. I wouldn't have missed this celebration. Though I have to confess, I had an ulterior motive for attending tonight. The crowd laughed politely, thinking it was a joke. I heard through the grapevine that Judge Jamie Barrett was going to be here this evening. And I wanted to personally congratulate her on her appointment to family court. The room went silent. Revelation. Every head turned, searching for whoever he was talking about. Chief Justice Holland's eyes scanned the room until they found me, partially hidden behind flowers at table 18 by the kitchen doors. His face lit up. "There she is. Judge Barrett, would you please join me up here?" I stood slowly, my legs uncertain. Every eye in the room tracked me as I walked from the forgotten corner table toward the front. The videographer swung his camera to follow me. My mother's face had gone white. My father looked confused. Marcus and Vanessa sat frozen at the head table. Melanie's mouth hung open. Chief Justice Holland met me halfway, taking my hand warmly. "Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to know what an extraordinary person you have among you tonight. Jamie Barrett has just been appointed to family court, one of the youngest judicial appointments in our state's history." He turned to address the room more fully, still holding my hand. "I've worked with Judge Morrison for 20 years, and when she recommends someone I pay attention. She told me Jamie was the most brilliant legal mind she'd encountered in her entire career. After reviewing Jamie's work, I agreed completely." The room remained silent, processing. People who'd ignored me all evening now stared with new expressions. "The judicial appointment process is rigorous," Chief Justice Holland continued. "We interview dozens of candidates. Review hundreds of cases. Jamie's legal analysis was flawless. Her understanding of family law, particularly cases involving parental rights, custody disputes and domestic matters, was exceptional. He smiled at me warmly. I reviewed her work on the Henderson custody case. The brief she wrote was masterful. It's going to be cited in legal textbooks. Thank you, sir. I managed, my voice steadier than I felt. The governor personally approved your appointment last week. You'll be sworn in Friday. He turned toward the head table where my family sat in stunned silence. You must be so proud. Family court judges handle some of the most important, sensitive cases in our legal system. Child welfare, custody battles, domestic violence. Jamie will be making decisions that literally change lives. My father's face had gone from white to red. My mother clutched her napkin. Marcus looked like he'd been slapped. I'm sorry to interrupt the festivities, Chief Justice Holland said to Vanessa's father, who stood frozen by the wedding cake. But when I heard Jamie was here, I couldn't let the evening pass without recognizing her achievement. He raised his glass. To Judge Jamie Barrett. May your court be marked by wisdom, compassion, and justice. The room erupted in applause, genuine, surprised, enthusiastic. People at the forgotten tables clapped loudest, perhaps sensing the reversal of fortune they'd just witnessed. Chief Justice Holland leaned close as the applause continued. Judge Morrison mentioned your family didn't know about the appointment. I hope I haven't created problems. No problems, I said quietly. Just revelations. He squeezed my hand once more before returning to his table. I walked back toward table 18, but several people intercepted me. Vanessa's uncle, an attorney. Two of Marcus's college friends with legal questions. The woman who'd questioned why I wasn't at the family table now looked vindicated. I didn't look at the head table. Didn't need to. I could feel my family's stares like physical weight. The DJ tried to resume the planned schedule, announcing the father-daughter dance. But the energy in the room had shifted. People whispered, pointing at me, reassessing everything they'd observed earlier. My phone buzzed with text. Melanie, why didn't you tell us? Marcus, we need to talk. My mother, come to the head table immediately. I ignored them all. Vanessa's father approached me, his expression transformed from dismissive to calculating. Judge Barrett. We didn't realize, we knew you worked in law, but not that you were a judge. The appointment was finalized last week, I said neutrally. His handshake was firm now, professional. We should discuss some matters. My company has several custody situations with employees. Having a connection to family court would be valuable. Judges don't provide favors, Mr. Chin. That would be unethical and illegal. His smile tightened. He retreated, probably wondering if his earlier dismissiveness would come back to haunt him. Resolution. My father appeared during the cake cutting. Jamie, we should talk. You're a judge. Why didn't you tell us? When would have been a good time, Dad? At Thanksgiving when Uncle Rob asked if I was still, just, a clerk? Or this week, when you instructed me to hide during speeches because I didn't fit the successful family aesthetic? He flinched. We didn't mean. You meant exactly that. My mother joined him, dabbing her eyes. We didn't know you were doing so well. You never talked about your work. You never asked. You decided years ago that my path was less valuable than Marcus's corporate sales job. Marcus appeared next, Vanessa hovering behind him. Jamie, I'm sorry about the seating. If we'd known you were a judge, you would have treated me differently? I asked. That's the problem, Marcus. Your respect is conditional on status. I'm the same person I was this morning when you told me to stay hidden. Vanessa tried her cultivated smile. We should celebrate you two. Maybe another toast. No. This is your wedding. Celebrate it. I'm going home. But the reception isn't over, my mother protested. People will want to talk to you. Which is exactly why I'm leaving. I collected my clutch from table 18. Chief Justice Holland caught my eye from across the room and nodded approvingly. On my way out, I passed the professional videographer reviewing his footage. The camera had captured everything. The speeches that excluded me. My walk from table 18. Chief Justice Holland's recognition. My family's shocked faces. Marcus and Vanessa's perfect wedding video would now include the moment they publicly disrespected a family court judge. My phone buzzed with another message from Judge Patricia Morrison. Holland texted me about tonight. Well done keeping your appointment quiet. Sometimes family needs to learn respect the hard way. See you Friday for the ceremony. I drove home to my quiet apartment, changed into comfortable clothes and poured a glass of wine. My swearing-in ceremony was in 6 days. Judge Morrison would administer the oath. Chief Justice Holland would attend. The governor would speak. My family hadn't been invited. I hadn't told them the date or location. Maybe I would. Maybe I wouldn't. They'd spent years teaching me that important moments were for successful people, that some family members were worth celebrating while others should hide in corners. I'd learned the lesson perfectly. Now they would learn that courts remember everything, that judges have long memories, and that the family member you dismiss at a wedding might be the one signing orders on your legal matters. Chief Justice Holland had called me brilliant. Extraordinary. One of the most promising legal minds in the state. I knew which assessment was accurate. My phone kept buzzing with messages from family. Apologies. Explanations. Request to talk. I silenced it and raised my glass to the quiet apartment. To justice. To knowing your worth even when your family doesn't. And to the look on my father's face when he realized that important moments were indeed for successful people. I just happened to be one.